Mr. Feed? Well, if need be, we can take the minutes if Marilyn's not there.
Yeah, okay. So thank you to the public who's watching. If anyone's still here, I'm going to move to 9J, discussion and possible action regarding tax appeal stipulated agreement for New Medi Trust Company LLC. Mr. Barley.
Mr. Chairman, be it resolved that the Town Council approves Resolution 041321-11. Be it resolved that the Town Council hereby authorizes the execution of a tax appeal stipulated agreement by and between the Town of Cheshire and New Medi Trust Company LLC for property at 745 Highland Avenue. And be it further resolved that the town attorney is authorized and directed to execute on behalf of the town said agreements in the form and upon the terms and conditions as presented at this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Barley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Pavano. Mr. Barley, back to you.
Glad somebody second. I know nobody likes to do that, but on this one, these are not the best of circumstances, but honestly, with 10,000 buildings in town, there are some that the evaluation gets a second look after the total revaluation of the town. This is one of them. It's a unique piece of property. Its value is not quite what we had expected it when our assessor did the revaluation back as of October 1, 2018. And so what we have come to an agreement and a stipulated judgment with the parties and a judge helping out is that the valuation would come down about $1 million. So there'd be about $25,500 a year less in taxes than we expected. However, they're still paying over $100,000 in taxes on that property. And therefore, I think it's best that we not continue to spend any more money trying to fight a valuation on a property that clearly is not gaining in value. And we've heard from our experts. And therefore, I think this is the best deal for the town of Cheshire.
Okay.
Well said, Mr. Barley. Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the council? Seeing none. With that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 10, Town Manager Report and Communications. Mr. Kimball?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will briefly share my screen for, there we go. Hopefully everyone can see that for the town manager's report. I know we had more Esposito on earlier, so I won't go in any detail through the COVID pandemic data and vaccine, but suffice to say, recent data reports have Cheshire at 26.7 daily cases per 100,000 compared to the 32.6 rate statewide, 41.6 in Prospect and 63.9 in Wolcott. You'll see the chart below, the total number of cases, daily cases reported, again, peaked in December, January, and early February. You'll see here in the yellow line, I know it's a little small, but has leveled out, but there's been a slight increase in recent weeks, as Ms. Esposito pointed out. Our positivity rate as of yesterday was 2.8%, which is 80 positive tests out of 2,848 tests. Vaccine clinics at the pool and the senior center have continued to run smoothly. As you heard from Ms. Esposito, there are plans to move clinics in May to Cheshire High School as Chespircott starts to wrap up their vaccination efforts, and the pool, we are optimistic, will be expanded in use for recreational and more competitive swimming around the same time of mid-May and into June. So we're starting to make plans there. To date, as you heard earlier, 53% of all Cheshire residents have received at least one vaccination dose. It's just important to remember that that also includes those under 18. So if you count the number above 18, it's actually 66.1% of Cheshire adults have received at least one dose of the vaccine. So we are doing well compared to our neighbor towns. And so moving on, we're proud to announce that Cheshire once again earned the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. We were notified last week. Again, credit to Jim Jascott, Gina DeFilio, and the entire finance department team. Again, echoing what Chairman Orris said earlier, we have a wonderful staff over there. And thank you to them, also our staff here in the town manager's office who assisted with these budget documents. It is no small feat, but it's important to recognize this annual award represents a significant achievement, and a published budget document must meet the criteria for the highest principles of governmental budgeting as a policy document, an operations guide, a financial plan, and a communication device. So again, congratulations to the finance department. into the town. Even though this is our first town manager's report since the bond sale, so I know I've reported this a number of times to the council, but I think it's worth sharing and amplifying again. That on March 31st, we successfully finalized $14 million new money bond sale and just under a $10 million refunding of prior bonds. This refunding will save the town over $820,000 over the remaining 12 years of the debt. And again, the successful sale follows solid reviews from AAA and AAA ratings from S&P Global and Fitch Ratings. So thank you again to the town council for their support and their commitment to solid fiscal policies, and also our strong management team for their hard work and diligent preparation that resulted in this accomplishment. Some public works related news. The town was notified yesterday that state DOT will be commencing milling and paving operations on North Brooksville Road and Route 42 from Mountain Road to Route 10. It could be as early as next week, April 19th. There will be a pre-construction meeting on Thursday this week to confirm the schedule. But we're anticipating that the work will be done during daylight hours. And we have asked the state to coordinate with Cheshire Public Schools to make sure accommodations are made for school day pickup and drop-off traffic at Norton School. So drivers, though, should be aware of the upcoming work and consider alternate routes during that time if possible. A number of upcoming recycling events and solid waste events. We have electronics recycling on Saturday, April 17th in the town hall parking lot. We'll be accepting grass clippings and leaves disposal every Monday, actually a little different this year, every Monday morning from now through November. Grass and leaves can be dropped off at the old transfer station, 1304 Waterbury Road from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. That's for residents only, no contractors. That is free disposal. Mattress and box spring recycling event will be Saturday, May 1st in the town hall parking lot. And household hazardous waste will be resuming. We work with RWA and their Has Waste Central, which will open Saturday, May 22nd. Pre-registration is required, and there's a link available here in the report and on our website. Also, the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, new this year, will be conducting a composter and rain barrel sale for our region. And Cheshire Town Hall will actually be a pickup location on Saturday, June 19th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. More information is available on the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments website. Happy to report the Elderly Nutrition Program returns to the Cheshire Senior Center starting Tuesday, April 20th. Grab-and-go lunches will be available for a suggested donation of $3 every Tuesday and Friday between 11 and 11:30. This program is available to all Cheshire residents ages 60 and over. For more details, contact the Senior Center. And also, a little bit more somber, but FEMA announces COVID funeral assistance program. We were notified last week that they will be accepting applications for funeral assistance through a dedicated call center Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Maximum FEMA payments will be $9,000 per funeral if the death is attributed to COVID-19 and occurred after January 20th of 2020 of last year. There's no state or local cost share for this program, and payments will be made directly to eligible individuals by FEMA. Applications, again, cannot be made online, must be made under the call center number. And finally, we have upcoming budget workshops and more to come, of course, beyond April 22nd and the regular council meeting May 11th. And I believe late this afternoon, Ordinance Review Committee is settling on May 6th as well for a meeting. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmel. Any questions or comments from members of the council? Yes, Mr. Veliver.
Sean, on that, and first off, yeah, you're correct. May 6th at 6:30 will be the ordinance committee. But also question on that, the FEMA funeral reimbursement. What is there what are the is there a sort of limitation on that? Seems like, is that basically everyone who's had a funeral in the last 15 months is eligible for up to $9,000? Or are there income requirements? Are there anything like that?
So there are a variety of, I haven't seen income requirements, but there are a lot of different criteria listed on that website. So I could certainly share that information. But from what I could tell, the most significant, of course, being COVID related.
Right.
Other than that, I think it looks to be a little more open, and I'm not sure if they may be awarding at different values due to different income levels, but I didn't see that in the initial release that we received last week. So
all right. I know there were obviously a lot of people died over the last, where they had certain causes, but they associated it with COVID. So it was a COVID related death. And I'm just curious what the broadness is. But obviously I would recommend that's a program that a lot of people are going to be interested in. I was just curious if there were requirements, but I would recommend anyone look into that if they have that, they've had that situation, unfortunately, in the last 15 months. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Veliver. Any other questions or comments on Sean Kimball's report? Yeah, Mr. Talbot.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sean, with regard to the paving that's going to take place on North Brooksville, do you know if the state is considering using, one of those lit signs that indicates that paving will begin, just to alert residents of that area of what's coming and kind of when it's going to start and everything else? The school's going to at least be alerted, which will help. But there will obviously be some traffic issues and people will want to do some rerouting based on paving on North Brooksville.
Yeah, definitely. We are in close contact with them now. And as you saw, we were only notified kind of very late by their own admission. We received the letter that we typically get that also asks us to alert them of any significant fairs, festivals, parades, etc. Which again, we're used to getting that letter and saying, oh, sure, well, we have Fall Festival, we have this, that, and the other in July. It was a surprise to me to hear that they were starting as early as next week. So while we don't have any fairs or festivals planned, clearly that seems like not a lot of notice for the neighborhood, especially with a more of a residential state highway in 42 there. So yeah, we'll definitely communicate that and request that they put some more signage up. And if not, we can try to put some of our own if need be. So. Thank you.
Yeah, and as you get further information, just pass it along to the council. I'll blast it out to my email group from the 4th District.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Talbot. Any other questions? Let me go to Mr. Jenks, Mr. Veliver first.
Yeah, just a quick question on the paving. Actually, it looks like in your report they're only doing up to Mountain Road. Is that right?
That's correct. The information we got from the state said starting from Mountain Road to Route 10. So that's the terminus on either side.
Which incorporates Norton School.
Yeah. Was there any indication that they'd be doing up to Bethany Mountain Road? The section from Mountain Road up to Bethany Mountain Road is actually even in worse shape than the section they're going to be doing.
Yeah, I'll follow up with them too. I'll ask Dan Bombero to reach out to them and ask if there's any immediate plans for that. But at this point, this is what they had on the initial notice that we received on.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jenks. Mr. Veliver, you had another question?
Yeah, mine was just a follow up on what Peter and actually Jim had also asked one question. How long would a project like that, how long would you expect that road to be tied up? How long does that usually take to cover a distance like that?
So that's a good question. I know they've been doing a lot of the raised structure work recently, if you drive down that area. So I believe, I can try to pull up the last minute. I don't think it's multiple weeks. I think it usually maybe between 1 and 2 weeks. That's kind of a speculation on my point. I'm not sure how rapidly they'll be able to get through that area. But as you know, there's a lot of state road work done last year and kind of based on what I saw there. But every road's a little different. So I would hold that judgment for now. But I can certainly find out. And if I find out,
I'm just curious as an expectation what that normally would take. That's all. Let me see. It's going to be a little inconvenient for Norton School, but that's, but a
lot of the work
in a week, that's one thing. I wasn't sure that could take 3 to 4 weeks.
Sure. A lot of the work they did last year, if you recall, was done at night, which is typical on a lot of the more state highways, like towards Waterbury Road and whatnot. I'm glad to see they're not going to be, doesn't look like they'll be doing that with this section, because that would be pretty disruptive, I think, to the folks there overnight. So hopefully it will be daytime work, although that does come with more traffic concerns.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Veliver. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Kimball? Okay, seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to item 11, reports of committees of the council. Chairman's report, Ms. Nichols.
You've heard enough from me tonight. We're tired, right? We
You
have a couple.
deserve a break, Sylvia. Thank you. Mr. Slocum,
No report.
Mr. Barry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you've not heard enough from the Budget Committee, although some of you may be tired.
Well, I think we have this month, Mr. Barry.
Yes, we do. We thank you very much for your support for the extra month. It will be well used. We're going to have a meeting April 22nd to get an update on the potential revenue picture and then some follow-up to some of the comments at our 7 budget workshops that we've already had. And then we talked tonight about wanting to have another meeting in early May where we would get the latest expenditures through April, which gives us an update, and then start coming up with changes to the mill rate that we might be able to find through the updated information on revenues, as well as the updated information on expenditures, and then start talking about what ifs. So that if we start that in early May, that gives us 3 solid weeks to talk among ourselves and come up with some changes. And the town manager and his staff have always been very agreeable about getting us information that we need to make our decisions.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Mr. Veliver.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, the Ordinance Review Committee will be meeting May 6th. We're gonna be put on an agenda the possible blight ordinance, PVC ordinance, as well as changes to the Park and Rec Commission, Park and Rec ordinances as well.
Thank you, Mr. Veliver. Mr. Walsh.
No report.
No solid waste report?
Not yet. Working on it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. We'll move on to item 12, miscellaneous and appointments, liaison reports. I'll start with the boxes. Mr. Barry.
Yes, just briefly, the pension board met for their quarterly meeting. We received over 10% return on our investment last year, which is very solid. So that's good news, and will eventually make its way to the budget in a lower mandatory contribution necessary, but not this coming fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Ms. Pavano.
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Pavano. Ms. Nichols.
Yes, I do. I have an appointment this evening.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Is that where we are? Okay, no, sorry. I'm tired. Liaison, no report.
Sylvia, you and I are on the same page tonight. We're both struggling a little bit. I'm telling you, it's these Zoom meetings. It's something about
really
them, and after a while, it's tough to focus. I'm sorry.
No
No liaison report, Ms. Nichols?
No.
Mr. Talbot?
No report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Talbot. Mr. Slocum?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Slocum. Mr. Walsh?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Jenks?
Yeah, I do want to just mention that I'd emailed everyone about this last week, but the sustainability team, we submitted our application to Sustainable CT last week to get Cheshire our bronze certification for being a sustainable town in Connecticut. And I've not heard back yet, but I expect we'll hear back in the next few weeks. But the team worked hard to collect information and projects Cheshire has already done, and also some additional projects that other organizations in town have completed over the last couple of years. We submitted 18 different projects. We needed 200 points for bronze. We submitted projects that we think are worth about 265, so we feel pretty confident that we'll get the bronze certification. So credit to the team, Fiona Pearson, Karen Schnitzer, Jen Dillon, Doug Noble, and Bill Stanley for working hard on that. And thank you to the town staff, Arnett and Jerry Sitko and George Nowotny and Suzanne Simone and some other people on the town staff that helped us pull all that together. So it's hopefully, I said we'll have an update on that soon, but that's what's happening from the sustainability team.
Thank you, Mr. Jenks, and thank you to the team from all of us for their hard work. Mr. Veliver?
No report.
Thank you. I believe that's everybody. Now, appointments to boards and commissions. Ms. Nichols.
Okay, I'll wake up. All right, I do have one appointment. And this one is for appointing John Fisher to the Housing Authority. It is a renomination. The term of office is from June 1st, 2021 to May 31st of 2026. He's a Republican. And that's the information that I have.
Mr. Chair, I will second, and I have no appointments of my own.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Thank you, Mr. Talbot. Any questions or comments on that appointment? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 13, Town Attorney Report and Communications. Attorney D'Onofrio.
Well, I'm not really certain what kind of report you'd like. Maybe we can talk offline for future meetings, what you'd like to hear from me on. The transition, as I indicated in the beginning of the meeting, has been going well. And, we've actually been working on town matters for about a month and a half now. And appreciate all the support from town manager's office and from town staff.
Thank you, Attorney D'Onofrio. We can't chat more about it. I think you can always start your meetings with how wonderful a town council we are to work with. That would be a good place to start, wouldn't it, folks?
Right.
That's the tradition. Yeah.
No, all kidding aside, thank you for working hard on the transition. I know you worked hard. Personally and financially, you made it workable for us on that. I certainly want to thank Al Smith and his staff as well from Eartha Kalina, who worked along with you to make this transition. As I said, it was a very difficult decision. Unfortunately, we made it, and we're here where we are. Unfortunately for our prior town attorney, of course, but we're very happy to have you, Jeff, and thank you for all you're doing, and we'll certainly work with you going forward
My
on
pleasure.
whatever reports we all think are most appropriate.
Terrific.
With that, any council communications, letters to council?
Chair, did you want me to? I know that the letter that I had received from Mrs. Setter was included in everyone's packets. So I didn't know if you wanted me to, it is a little bit lengthy, but I know we have had some discussion about it, and hopefully we'll have some more as a full council.
Yep, I think that's fine, Mr. Talbot. If you wanted to summarize it, you can, but I think we're fine the way it is. We all did get it. We all read it. We understand it. We appreciate it. And I guess that's it, unless you want to add more.
No, just in summary, Mrs. Setter wrote me a very nice letter and asked me to pass it along to the council, which I did. I did speak with her earlier today and let her know that the council was in receipt of her letter at her request. And what she is asking for is for the council to take another look at the senior tax program to lessen the tax burden on 70 and older, to include an increase in the income level to help seniors be able to pay taxes and remain in their homes.
Thank you, Mr. Talbot. And yes, thank you to Ms. Setter for a very detailed letter that she wrote. I appreciate it. She clearly put a lot of effort into it, was well thought out, and we appreciate the information. We'll certainly be looking into it. So thank her for that. Any other communications or letters to the council from members here? Seeing none. And with that, I will move for a motion to adjourn, or ask for a motion.
Moved.
To adjourn. Mr. Veliver, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jinks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.